All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into it because I know everybody's time is valuable, and you know me, I like to try to keep these at 45 minutes or less. So this is week 9 of Ultimate Techniques of Top Producers, and this is your basics of team building. So if you've ever thought about whether or not to join a team, to create a team, or even to create some type of partnership between you and another agent, this is going to give you the basics that you need to know of how a team operates. And it's important, some important things that you need to think about before going into that type of venture. Teams can be very rewarding. However, they can be very scary when we're talking about building a real estate team. So I tried to put everything in this lesson that at least gets you to the point where you're starting to think about all of these different avenues, all of these different things that goes into being part of a team or heading a team, so that you know that before you decide to make the leap. So, basics of building a real estate team. In today's competitive real estate market, building a successful team can enhance your productivity and client service significantly. A well-structured team allows for task delegation and combines diverse skills and perspectives, elevating your business. So in this chapter, we're going to explore those things in bigger detail. So one thing I just want to mention is this is not everything that you need to know about building a team. These are just the basics. We're going to give you the foundation underneath them, but we are putting together a one-team training. So this is a more in-depth training for anybody who's interested in building a team and what that looks like. This here is just going to give you those basics. So first, we need to ask ourselves the question, is building a team right for you? So deciding whether to build a real estate team is a significant consideration for any agent looking to scale their business. While many agents thrive as solo practitioners, can't talk today, others find that building a team can unlock new levels of success, productivity, and job satisfaction. Before you take this step, it's essential to assess whether it aligns with your career goals, personality, and work style. All right, so the very first thing I want you to think about is I need you to assess your workload and goals. What does your current workload look like? Are you striving to find additional deals because you're a little stagnant and your pipeline is scarce? Or do you have so much business that you are turning business away? This should be the very first thing that you're asking yourself before you form a team. So you need to evaluate what your workload and career objectives are. Are you constantly overwhelmed by the demands of your business or struggling to keep up with your client needs? Are you unable to take on new opportunities? If so, building a team may be a solution. But again, we need to look at our goals too, because each person's goals are different for them. Getting more business may not be right for you. What are your business goals and what are your life goals? Are you looking to do more business this coming second half of the year? Are you looking to take a step back and do less? If you're looking to do more, building a team might be right for you. But if you're looking to do less, trust me, building a team is not the answer, because not only are you doing your own business, but then you are running a business and supporting people underneath you. So it does add to your overall workload. Second thing you need to do is evaluate your leadership qualities. Not everybody is a born leader. Some people have to learn how to be a leader. So I really want everybody to kind of reflect on their ability to lead a team. And by leading, it requires inspiring, motivating, and managing others. So do you enjoy coaching and mentoring people? Are you leading with the heart of a teacher? I use that phrase all the time. That's a Dave Ramsey thing for any of you who don't know. But are you leading with the heart of a teacher? Do you find satisfaction by coaching and mentoring others? If you do, you may have innate leadership qualities that may make you a strong team lead. Also, if you find it challenging to delegate tasks and prefer to have your finger on just about every aspect of your business, being a team lead may not be the right quality for you. You may work better as a solo agent. So you do need to evaluate your leadership qualities and work on those qualities. Just because you're not a born leader does not mean that you do not have the capability of leading. All of us are good at something, but not everybody can be good at everything. So sometimes we have to learn new skills and we have to adapt. So again, just because you're not a born leader doesn't mean that you can't become one. Third thing I want you to do is consider the financial implications. And I'll say that again, consider the financial implications. Running a team, especially a sizable team, can be just as difficult and as expensive as running a brokerage itself. You're running a business within a business. So there are a lot of financial restraints and a lot of financial considerations that you need to think about before building a team. So it does require financial commitments, including salaries, commissions, benefits to your team members. So before proceeding, evaluate your current financial situation and consider whether you have the resources to support team members. Next up, weigh the benefits and their challenges. So building a team offers a ton of positive benefits, I promise you. You go through and you will see if you have a well-running team, you'll have increased efficiency. You have different minds being able to bring different ideas to the table. It does provide you more work-life balance and reduces stress and burnout once the team is running efficiently. But there are challenges as well. So running a team requires additional time and effort. You have recruiting and training considerations, coaching and mentoring, lead generation to think about. So there are its benefits and its challenges. Just like opening any business, forming a team takes a lot of labor on your part, a lot of financial investment on your part to open the business, as whether you're opening a laundromat or a restaurant or anything. There is some financial contribution up front, and there are some time contributions up front. So running a team is no different. Next, I want you to reflect on your market and competition. Is your market and is the market conditions right for you to build a team? Is there too much or too little competition for teams in your market? It's amazing that if you look down in Allegheny County, there are teams are a dime a dozen. There are teams everywhere in Allegheny County. You get anywhere near Pittsburgh and there's a team name here and a team name there and a team name here. But then you take a travel not that far away up into Mercer County and they are way less prevalent. There are teams there, but they are fewer and farther between. So is this something that is needed in your marketplace, or is this something that's already oversaturated? So definitely reflect on your market. We also want to look at market conditions when we're opening up a team as well. Do we have a stagnant market where it's really hard to find deals and it's hard for one agent to feed themselves, let alone feed their team members? Or do we have a very healthy market where it's all hands on deck? So consider those as well. Any questions about considerations before deciding whether to open a team? No, none? Okay. Moving on. Let's talk about some costs. What's it cost? What's it cost to form a team? So really, I can tell you that this varies from team to team. There is no book on this is the way every person has to build a real estate team. There's no book on it. Now, if you Google search it, or if you hire a coach, whether that is Brian Buffini or Tom Ferry or any of the big names out there, they all have their playbook on how to start a team or start a partnership because they have experience in doing this. Most of the real estate coaches out there were productive real estate agents or brokers at one time, so they can tell you what they did and how it worked for them. So same thing with me. I can tell you what I did and how it worked or didn't work for me, but really there is no written rule book on this is what you have to do and when. So just keep that in mind as we're going through the next sections of this training. So first and foremost is monetarily. So what are you going to have to invest in your business, and what is your operating expenses? So when we talk about operating expenses, for those who are new to running your own business, your operating expenses are those fixed costs in which you pay to be able to keep your business open. Every business has one. I'm currently sitting in New Brighton. We own the building here, but we have a mortgage on that building. And we know that every month we have to pay out a principal interest payment on our building. So that's part of our overall operating costs. Just because you have a team and you don't have a building doesn't mean that you don't have operating costs. There are costs for doing business and costs to operate. So we're going to talk about those. Salaries and commissions. So one of the most significant expenses that any business owner will incur is the cost of other people. So people just don't come to you because they're your friends and they like your company. They come to you to make money. And hopefully they could be your friends and like your company at the same time. So we need to talk about salaries and commissions. There's a couple ways that you can pay your team members, and that is by salary or by commission. So I'll talk about those two individually. Salaries, which are not very common in our market. I think one of the biggest ones, biggest brokerages that do that is Redfin. And those agents do not get paid commission, they get paid salary. You can hire agents on a salary basis, and you'll need to budget for regular payments regardless of salary performance. So regardless of how they perform, they are given a weekly paycheck of X amount of dollars or so much per year because they are salary. This does need to go through traditional payroll, and there's lots of payroll companies out there that can handle that for you. And those include things like unemployment compensation, workman's compensation, tax, payroll taxes. A lot of time that will include a contract, including paid time off, vacation time, sick time, those types of things. So super uncommon with licensed individuals, but super common when it comes to unlicensed individuals like transaction coordinators, administrative assistants, those types of things, which we'll get into a little bit later in the training here. Most common for team members is commission-based. So for commission-based agents, you must determine how commissions will be split. Common arrangements include percentage split on sales, which could range from 50% to 70% for newer agents, depending on their experience level and their market conditions. Next, we talk about something that's also very common, which is incentives and bonuses. So to motivate your team, considering offer performance-based bonuses or incentives for achieving specific goals. This can involve closing a certain number of transactions or reaching a sales target. So that's also something that is also very prevalent, whether you're running a team or a brokerage. I mean, think at the very smallest tier. Every month we roll out who's our top listing agent, who's our top sales agent. We reward those people with a gift certificate for the one shop. Sometimes we run, contests like we're doing now, our recruiting contest that'll give away free tickets to Summit, free airfare, those types of things. So when you have a goal, think about incorporating those into your overall commission structure. It does just provide the incentive to reach whatever goals that you're looking at hitting, and also it makes it fun. So it builds up as part of the culture as well. It kind of breaks the monotony of the everyday and just puts a little bit of fun in your business. Next, you're going to look at training and development costs. So a lot of real estate agents will gravitate towards a team for a couple of different reasons. And one of those reasons is training and development. They want to hone in their skills. They want to learn from you. So coming to you for training may be one of the reasons why you will attract agents. So you'll need to think about investing in your training programs. These could be for onboarding new agents or ongoing skill building and professional development. So you may need to budget for external courses or certifications that are relevant to your team's needs. What's great about training certifications, if you use your money wisely, you can actually get certified as a coach and go through mentoring and training programs, which then, just the same as I did and I'm training you now, you can start to make your own and really start building your own training business off of those. But it does require an investment. It does require ongoing commitment. Just as I train you guys, I am also constantly getting trained as well. I had to sit on a training yesterday for 2 hours. And our training yesterday was about CRMs and follow up and follow through. So you have to be constantly learning and investing in yourself to be the best leader and mentor that you can be. Mentorship programs are something that are very important, especially to newer agents. So you may want to implement a mentorship system with your team, and you would need to allocate funds for mentorship material, resources, and incentives. Next up is marketing and branding. A lot of brand new or newer agents don't have the funds to really market or brand themselves. So this would be something that would be very important for a team lead to consider when building out their team. How much are you going to spend on brand development, and what does that look like? How are you going to increase your online presence for you and your team members? How are you going to build out your professional website, your social media, online advertising? And then think also about traditional marketing. So print advertising, direct mail campaigns, local sponsorships and events. These should all be things that you are providing as your unique value proposition over and above what the brokerage provides. So this is over and above. I know that the brokerage here provides you with a lot of training and development, marketing and branding, but if you are going to be building a team, this is something that you need to do over and above that. Next, think about office space and equipment. So if you have a team and that team grows large enough, eventually you're going to need some office space. Now, a lot of real estate companies allow for office lease at their larger buildings. We have one in Newcastle, so we have office space there for lease. But you may also want to lease an office. I know April was on the call and she had a team where they leased a little office space that was just for them, for team meetings and things like that. So that's an overhead cost you'll need to think about. If you are leasing a space, I just want to be completely transparent. You cannot advertise that space. It needs to be a shadow space, meaning no signage. Not allowed to put signs out there because it's an unlicensed space. So just full disclosure on that. If you have any questions, just call me on that and I can give you the rundown. But also things to consider, it's going to be computers, printers, software, CRM systems, and other essential equipment for team operations. You need to make sure that your team has access to tools to facilitate efficient communication and collaboration. So when I had a team, I know that I spent a ton of money on laptops. I provided each one of my team members a laptop. We had our own printers, we had our own space, and we ran like a business inside a business. Next is administrative support. Who's going to be doing your transaction coordination? Who's going to be doing your marketing? These are also things to consider. And in hiring and the cost of hiring your administrative staff. Last but not least is technology and tools. Now you do have OneSuite here, your CRM system. So you can use that, but there are CRM systems specifically designed for teams. That is a cost that you want to take into consideration. And then also team collaboration tools like Slack and Zoom. These may be things that you want to add as well to provide additional support and communication with your team. All right, any questions on costs for building a team? No? Any other costs that you guys can think of that maybe we didn't go over? All right, you guys are quiet today. Becoming the rainmaker. Like I said, team members are going to come to you for a multitude of reasons. Because they want to be trained, because they want to be mentored, because they need additional marketing, because they want to be part of something bigger. But the number one reason why other agents will join a team is because they want somebody to be the rainmaker. They want additional money. They want additional leads. They want that agent to start getting leads for them, which is why when we talked about at the very beginning, are you ready for a team? Because the misconception of becoming a team, and if you have this misconception and you form a team, I promise you 99.999% positivity, it will fail. So a lot of people will come to me and say, I want to form a team and I want to hire a bunch of agents. That way I get money when they sell a house. That's not the way to do it. You cannot do it that way. It will fail every time. It will fail. You will have nothing but problems and people will leave you because people can see right through it. So what you have to do is you have to learn how to become the rainmaker. If you have made so much rain for yourself, rain meaning money, if you have made so much rain for yourself that you can no longer collect all the droplets that are falling out of the sky because you've run out of time and you've run out of steam, that is when you need to join a team. You need to join a team because my client satisfaction has dropped. I'm not able to properly serve my clients. And I want to bring other agents in who are having a harder time because I have something to give. You have to have that sense of like, I want to give something, not I want to take something. I want to give something. And by giving, then you're able to expand your network. So becoming a rainmaker. To become a rainmaker, you have to cultivate a strong network of individuals in which to get referrals from. Not only referrals, but also people who can help support your business. Whether that is mortgage lenders, title professionals, home inspectors, roofers, plumbers, attorneys, whoever that is, you need to cultivate a really strong network. The second thing you need to do is implement a lead strategy system. You need to have a lead generation system to support your team. And if you are already overwhelmed by the amount of business you have coming in, chances are you have a pretty good lead generation system that you can grow. Third is you need to utilize technology and tools. Put your systems in place day one, because I promise you, if you don't have your systems in place, you're not going to be able to control anything. Okay, so use your technology and tools. You have to provide ongoing training and support to your team. And you also have to create a culture of collaboration. So being part of a team is about being part of something bigger than oneself. So you need to cultivate that collaboration and have a really good culture within your team. And number 6, which is probably the most important, is encourage feedback. Whether that feedback is positive or negative, have an open and safe space where people can come to you and say, hey, this is working really great. I really love this. Or, hey, this is not working really great and I don't like this. And then take that information as constructive criticism and adapt. Talk about what's going right and what's going wrong in your team with your team. And that's the best way to grow. All right, so let's talk about making the first hire. When we talk about a team and we have somebody who is interested in forming a team, usually the first thing that they jump to is a buyer's agent. Oh, I need more help. I need a buyer's agent. But actually, that's probably the worst decision you can make. All right, so in my own personal opinion, again, this is just my opinion telling you the things that I did right and the things that I did wrong. When I first formed my team, it failed miserably. And most people don't know that. I attempted to form a team. I had 6 agents on my team and it failed miserably. And I dissolved the team. And I had to take a few years off and then I had to start again. So one of the biggest mistakes that I made is that my first hire was a buyer's agent. I thought, okay, great. I have too much business. I need to hurry up and gobble up a buyer's agent so they can hurry up and take these leads and appointments so that I'm not losing all these clients. And it was the worst decision that I had made because now I had a buyer's agent who I was responsible for. I was already maxed out. And now I had this buyer agent that I had to teach how to handle the leads because I just inherently thought that like, okay, when you passed your test, you know what you're doing. Answer's wrong. And now I had to take additional time to try to mentor this person and go to their appointments with them. So all I did was create additional work for myself. So once I dissolved the team, my first hire was an administrative assistant. And that person was unlicensed that sat at the office. This was somebody that I could pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I need this. Or, hey, can you call the title company? Or, hey, my clients want to go ahead and get their home inspection. Just put this under contract. Can you call the home inspector and schedule it for this time? Hey, can you go into the system and shoot out an email and see if I can show this property on this day at this time? Hey, I'm going to forward you my calls because I'm on appointments from 1 o'clock until 5 o'clock. So I'm going to forward those calls over so they can leave a message and I need you to send out what I need and then text me if there's any problems. This is what I did. with my administrative assistant. This assistant was able to send emails to vendors, partners, other agents to coordinate everything. They obviously could not talk to consumers. I want to make that very clear that my assistants were not speaking to consumers because I was the only one that could do that. They were able to go in the system and book appointments for me. They were doing all of my TC work, so I would hand the paperwork in. They put another set of eyes on it. They were checking for everything. They were putting things into my schedule so I knew where I had to be and when. So it was life-changing to have an administrative assistant, just a very broad administrative assistant, not a transaction coordinator, not a showing assistant, just an administrative assistant that did everything that I needed on the back end to support my clients. The second thing I did was a showing assistant. So when I brought in a brand new baby agent that was just fresh out of real estate school, they were not a buyer agent on my team. They were a showing assistant. And my showing assistants did things like showed properties. But it was not their clients. They did open houses. They set lock boxes for me. They helped put up directional signs and open house signs, and they got paid per activity. So they were licensed, so they could talk to consumers. They could return my calls for me, talk to consumers about setting appointments, but they were basically a licensed administrative assistant. And they did all of the little functions I needed them to do while being licensed. So they were a step above that admin assistant, and they got paid bonuses based on the closed sales and what I was doing. Once that showing assistant showed me that they could be out on their own, then they became a buyer's agent. And then I could let them have their own clients. And then I was able to hand clients off and they were able to service those clients. Once the buyer agent went out and showed me that they were great at being a buyer agent, that I could let go a little bit less, delegate a little bit more, then we trained to become a listing agent. All right, see how that funnel works? You work through the funnel. But your first hire, in my opinion, should always be an administrative assistant. All right. Any questions on that? That was long-winded. No, nobody's talking to me today, man. Well, I had to get a drink here. All right. So what's all this cost? Let's make money make sense. Traditionally, an administrative assistant or transaction coordinator for your team ranges between $35,000 to $50,000 a year is what you will pay them full-time on salary. Showing assistant, this is a person who's usually new to the business, and this person can be paid hourly or by the showing or by the activity because they are licensed, so they can get commission. A buyer listing agent, this is a fairly seasoned agent looking for more leads, training, and opportunity. And the buyer listing agent is traditionally paid on a net split. So let's review what a net split is, because I talk about net splits and then everybody looks at me like I have a horn on my head. All right, so net splits. This is how you pay your team. So here's an example here of your income. So let's say that you have a buyer's agent and you provide that buyer's agent the lead, and the buyer closes the lead. The amount that was charged on this property was $5,000. Okay, so they charged $5,000 in commission plus a $685 broker fee. So let's cut that down, and you get a check from title at closing for $5,685. Next, right off the top, you take off your deductions for the brokerage. So you have your $685 broker fee, your compliance fee of $200, and your transaction fee of $250. So your total deductions is $1,135. Okay. So then we take our income of $5,685 minus our expenses of $1,135, and your total net commission is $4,550. So that's your net commission. So then we start calculating the commission off of the net. So think about it when you have a team, the team lead or team principal, that commission is booked under what their ICA is. So it always goes off of what the team lead's ICA is. And then all of the agents on the team bump off of that ICA. So if the team lead is on 100%, then the team members are on a gross 100%. But then they have an ICA with their team lead that says what their net split is going to be. All right. So in this example, You have a team member, a buyer's agent that has sold a house, and they're on a 60% split with their team principal. So now we do the team formula. So the team lead would go in and say, okay, our net commission is $4,550. My override as the team lead is 40%. How do we get that? 60% split to the agent, equal off 100%, leaves 40%. So the override is considered, that's like the team lead's commission. You know what I mean? That we call it an override. So team lead override is 40%. So the team lead is taking $1,820 out of that deal, and the team member takes home $2,730. So that is their net split, net team split. Any questions on that? No? All right. That's all I got for you this week. Oh, we actually got through it pretty quickly because nobody talked to me during this training. Sometimes I wonder if you guys fall asleep while I'm talking, or maybe I just talk too fast. I'm not sure. But what questions do you have about building a team? Anything at all?
I had a question. So do you think clients or the perception teams are more effective than an individual realtor or not?
It just depends on, I mean, as for a consumer or just in general?
For a consumer or, potential home buyer or home seller. Maybe even because it's my thinking that when it comes to like for luxury properties, they prefer a team because they think they're getting more value. Does that make sense?
Well, I think it's how the team is structured too. I can tell you that there's lots of great teams out there and there's lots of terrible teams out there. You know what I mean? Because no two teams are run exactly the same. So I think the bigger question that a consumer has to ask themselves is, are they truly working as part of the team? Is the entire team selling the home, or is just one individual on that team selling the home? And I don't think consumers ask that a lot. I think there's pros and cons. If I was a consumer, I would say, well, the marketing they'd probably invest more money into marketing because it's a team. But also, am I going to be shuffled around between all the team members, or am I going to talk to one person? So when I had a team, most consumers are like, well, when I'm signing up with you, I want to work only with you. I don't want to talk to any of your team members. So that was like a common pitfall. But I think there is some assumption that multiple people will be working on marketing that property. So I think there's pros and cons. It just depends on the consumer.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or insights anybody can give? No? All right. Well, next week we will be back for the final week. And this time, the last week, week 10 has changed. The topic has changed. We're going to be talking about mentorship matters. So we're going to be talking a little bit about becoming a mentor, what it's like to be mentored, why coaching and mentoring is so important at any point in your career, whether you're brand new or whether you've been in the business for 20 years. Like I said, I still get coached and mentored by people outside of our community here. It's very, very important to continue to learn and grow. But we're going to talk about both sides of the coin on mentorship matters. So what it's like to be a mentor, and maybe if that's something that you want to aim for in the future, and what it's like to be a mentee and why it's so important. So I will see you back next week, same time, same place for week 10, final week. And I will talk to you guys then. Of course, I will stay on the line afterwards. If anybody has any questions they want to ask in private, I will be here. And you guys have an amazing day.
Thanks, Christina.